Alright, this is a great comic. Killer Fool, issue 4, The Point of No Return, starring Bridget Fonda and Gabriel Byrne. One of the things I love about this issue is it has a theme, and it explores it fully. And themes and analysis are one of those things modern comic book readers don't appreciate. Their idea of a comic having a theme is when it spells it out to you, when it tells you its theme. They are a breed of reader weaned on Christopher clairvoyance, where everything you're meant to think is told to you directly in overbearing caption boxes. These people don't have the ability to perceive anything beyond the surface texts. So they need the surface texts to tell them if something is meant to be deep. I understand that a YouTube reviewer with 700 subscribers who pretends to be an idiot isn't the right voice to champion the arts of subtlety and intelligent writing. But as with a lot of things, I feel I am the only one that really wants to focus on or tackle the unintelligent flock that have helped steer comics to where they are at now. This is issue 4 of this series. It is part 4 of this story. A quick recap here, because it does matter to the discussion of this issue's theme. Our series charts the downward spiral of Dave Fenn's, Michael Douglas, in the movie Falling Down. He had a long string of misfortunes. He was fired from his investment banker job. His father was beaten to death by street thugs. His girlfriend left him. And he has had to start working at Burger King to make ends meet. During all this, he also became empowered by the rantings and ravings of the imprisoned vigilante Killer Fool, which has led him down the path of adopting the Killer Fool identity for himself and continuing Killer Fool's crusade of murdering fools. The theme of this issue, it is a theme throughout the series, but this issue is really tackling it. The theme is rabbit holes and falling down a rabbit hole. We begin where the last issue ended. Dave Fenn's had a skirmish with a black drug dealer called Backhand. It didn't go too well for him. And so we have this great sequence with him trying to escape from the scene of the crime. He is trying to hide out. And so he gets away on the subway and he turns to Lee Quinzel, Lady Gaga, one of the institutionalized Killer Fool's few associates. We met her in issue 2, and she tends to Michael Douglas's wounds. We also find out, we learn a little bit of her backstory. You want to know how she got these scars? She was in an abusive relationship and her boyfriend threw acid in her face. And our previous Killer Fool, Joaquin Phoenix, the one in the madhouse, he executed her boyfriend. And so Lady Gaga became one of his hanger-ons. There's a great bit where it reminds you that these people are all unbalanced. Lady Gaga keeps a veil of sulfuric acid on her mantle as a decorative ornament. Please Pay attention here. We are 4 issues into this series, and the 90s Ghost Driver series is only now launching. This was presaging the anti-hero boom so much. Ghost Driver and Punisher, and to an extent Wolfman, they are the poster boys for that big explosion of dark anti-heroes in the 90s. And this came before that, really. It's after this we get into the meat of this. I reckon some people, certain little Irish teenagers, would want him to fucking hurry up and shoot more black people. But the rest of this issue is instead showing us how much Michael Douglas is gone mentally. He has passed the point of recovery. It is the point of no return, starring Bridget Fonda and Gabriel Byrne. Here we have his co-worker and bizarre love interest from Burger King, and she loans him some money and displays kindness and generosity towards him. This provides him with a very clear out. He could pack it in, his killing. He could take the money and follow her suggestions and return to a regular life with her, but he doesn't even consider it. He doesn't recognise the opportunity. He does recognise the kindness, at least, but he is filled with and motivated by all this bullshit rhetoric about society being broken and no mercy for fools. When you fall down a rabbit hole, which is very easy to do, you do end up losing yourself this way. Appropriate to this issue's theme, I fell down a rabbit hole because of the adverts. I noticed all the adverts in this are in-house advertisements. Ghost Driver, Incredible Hulk, Deathly Ed, the Deathly Ed graphic novel. Later on we have Knights of Penzance, Stalkers, which was Epic, a Marvel imprint. Marvel Masterworks, I wonder whatever happened to them. The 90s Galactical Guardians ongoing. The Excellent Men Extinction Song crossover, and another comic from Epic on the back. Regular floppy readers tend to build up an immunity to advertisements. I really only pay attention when they are in-house and they catch my eye. Or they are those phone scams that piss me off. This intrigued me because my first thought was that no advertiser wanted to be attached to this series. Or more likely, Marvel didn't feel confident that any advertiser would want to be. So I went and dug out every other comic I have that was released this same week, just to check the advertisements. Consider this an unofficial entry into my What Else Was Out at the Time feature. We have Avengers West Coast 66, Captain America 381, and Uncanny Excellent Men 272. One thing I did notice, however, was that Killer Fool is a newsstand edition. I thought that might have been a factor. But fortunately, of the 3 other comics, I did have another newsstand edition for comparison's sake. West Coast Avengers has regular adverts, Mario Bubble Bath, Wrath of the Black Manta, Gargoyles for Game Boy, graphics so real you'll forget it's only a game, and even an annoying insert for arch rivals. Captain America, same adverts, Mario, Black Manta, Gargoyles, graphics so real you'll forget it's only a game. And I was surprised that I hadn't removed the insert for arch rivals. I'll do that right now. And then we have our newsstand edition of Uncanny Excellent Men 272. Mario, Manta, Gargoyles, graphics real, game, but no insert. So I thought back to the drawing board. It must just be this issue. At this point, I did notice the price. This is $1.75 against those other three, which were priced $1 each. That made me think, oh, it costs more because they aren't making anything on the advertising. So then I got out the rest of the series, and most of them are newsstand editions too. Issue 1, newsstand edition, same price. But no, we have regular advertisements for this. Even Wrath of the Black Manta again. Captain Planet. One in-house one right at the end for Knights of Penzance. Same one we have in issue 4. Issue 2, direct edition. We have Spider-Man in the UPC box instead of a barcode. That means it is the direct market version. Priced at $1.75 still. First advert is for Wrath of the Black Manta. Issue 3, newsstand edition. $1.75. Regular adverts still. Street Fighter, Mario Bubble Bath at the back. Okay, issue 5, the issue after this. Another newsstand edition, still $1.75. Our first one is in-house, Epic Comics. But then we have Mega Man 3. We have regular advertisements. I'm sorry, I know this is ridiculous, but issue 6. This is all in-house as well. Death Clock, Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, Dartboard, Wolfman, issue 7. In-house, mostly the same ones. Death Clock, Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, Dartboard. Issue 8. The last 3 issues I have are direct market versions. And this one has normal advertisements again. Issue 9, on the other hand, it is all Marvel advertising. And they're still using this Knights of Penzance advert almost a year later. And then the final issue, once more, has regular advertisements in it, including one of those phone scams. The worst thing about this rabbit hole is I have went down it and come up with no conclusion, no understanding, and no clear idea why the advertisements included in this series were inconsistent. One of my theories is maybe the issues with only in-house advertising might have contained images or content they considered more unlikely to appeal to advertisers. Like this one, issue 7, opens with him trying to shoot himself. Spoilers, folks! This issue, though, there's nothing especially dark or violent in this one. It's almost a downtime issue. We find out that the co-worker knows martial arts, and Michael Douglas wants her to train him so that he can better use those skills in his moonlighting adventures as a killer. We get a special celebrity guest cameo, Al Sharpton. A tease for what is coming in a future issue. Then we have the centerpiece of this one. I have dubbed it the montage of this series' blatant satirical intent. I also considered this is more than likely the thing that Marvel or advertisers don't want associated with. We see Michael Douglas training. It is a training montage, but it is appropriately demented. Alongside physical workouts and learning how to fight, he also starts sleeping in trash. he starts sleeping in a pile of litter. He has also taken to perverse forms of what he calls endurance tests, but what are basically self-mutilation, holding his hand over the stove of an oven or scalding himself in the shower to try and withstand any pain he might encounter as Killer Fool. I can now punch myself in the face 20 times without flinching. Maybe Wrath of the Black Manta didn't want to be associated with sleeping in a pile of garbage. There's also this bit where he walks around the sewers almost naked and fights a rat. It's like something out of It's Always Sunny. Maybe I should be saying down the rat hole, or down the sewer system, down the manhole, instead of down the rabbit hole. Bestiality, that's one rabbit hole I won't go down. Thought I'd treat you with a little comedian joke there. Of course, my looking at the adverts in this series and other comics is a rabbit hole that is of no consequence. The rabbit holes we are focusing on are the more destructive ones. The thing about these rabbit holes is that once you are down one, it's very hard to come up from it. We have seen him off at the chance and he didn't seize it. He didn't even realise it. He continued down a path of self-destruction and echoed ideas. I have fallen down some actual rabbit holes, and I have nearly fallen down some similar rabbit holes. I always point it out, but I could have easily wound up one of those rage-baiting right-wing anti-SJW types. I thought a lot of those people were motivated by passion and love for comics or Star Wars or whatever. I thought they had the same values as me. I came to realise they didn't, and so I dodged falling too far down into that corner of the internet. But it was a very real threat that I could have been gaslit into believing all these bad, spiteful opinions presented by phony ideologues with no integrity and no deeper thought patterns. I remember one of the big moments when I completely annexed myself from any of that drivel was 2019, I think it was. There was a movie called Gretel and Ansel, and they were all furious and up in arms about how Ansel is demoted for feminist propaganda. That they have ruined Ansel and Gretel forever. Yet they never mentioned their apparent deep love for Ansel and Gretel before or after. And in that movie, Gretel is played by Sophia Lillis, a very good young actress. You probably know her from the It remake. And I have seen the movie Gretel and Ansel. She's the best thing in it. She's the best thing in It as well. But none of them people who were angry and annoyed about the existence of Gretel and Ansel, none of them cared to actually watch it to see if it was annoying or angering. They didn't even consider it as anything besides more fuel to say Hollywood is going woke and going broke. Kathleen Kennedy should be fired for this. Thank God for Elon Musk. Sophia Lillis, by the way. Perfect Marissa Parker casting. I think something that exemplifies the path of no return is becoming the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. Once you have reached that point, how do you go back? Once you have been the Gimp, you have forever been the Gimp. Wonderful issue, a cautionary tale. The whole series is a cautionary tale. What not to let happen to you. Don't go on a murder spree. Now that is powerful messaging in comics. Don't be a murderer. 7 thumbs up.